Welcome back to Tethered and Whole, the podcast for classroom teachers like you, navigating the beautiful, often chaotic world of education. I'm your host, Matt Weld, and every week we dig into strategies for staying grounded, connected, and effective, both for ourselves and for our students. Today I want to talk about something we all encounter, whether it's in the staff room, the grocery store, or, most importantly for us, right there in our classrooms, and that is rudeness. It's the kind of behavior that can instantly deflate your energy, it can spark frustration, and sometimes, if we're not careful, it can even make us question why we do what we do. But what if I told you that you possess a superpower when it comes to dealing with these moments? A power to engage, not enrage. Let me tell you a quick story. So my wife and I just finished a huge basement renovation. When we bought our house, there were studs down here in the basement, but as you can see, it's now finished. We did most of the work ourselves, which meant, naturally, we accumulated a mountain of stuff that had to be returned to a certain box store. I mean, you know how it is. You can't get a project done without at least 10 trips to the store. Am I right? So picture this. Late Friday afternoon, with a cart overflowing with returns and a woman at the customer service desk who is clearly not thrilled to see us. Her greeting was curt, her questions were rapid fire, and she seemed to be listening to absolutely nothing that we said. My initial reaction was, of course, frustration, a desire just to get this done and get the heck out of there. And yes, a part of me was already crafting a 2-star review. So anyway, but then 2 things happened. First, I calmly presented all our receipts, perfectly organized. And second, my brilliant wife, in her infinite wisdom, said, "Oh, I just love your nail color." The woman paused, looked up, and replied, "Thanks. This color is one of my go-tos. It reminds me of my daughter who's grown and living in Kansas City." And just like that, a tiny crack appeared in the wall of rudeness. The woman started to open up. She lamented about not liking to live in St. Louis and how much she wanted to move back to Kansas City. I leaned into curiosity and I asked her why. And for several minutes, I just listened, really listened. She warmed up even further. My wife continued to thank her for her patience, even commenting, "Wow, you must have some amazing stories from this position." Turns out, this initially rude, quote-unquote, woman was incredibly skilled at her job. She managed interruptions like a pro, and by the end, she was an absolute gem. We assured her that she would get high marks on any survey. So, what's the takeaway here, especially for us as teachers? We have the power to engage or enrage difficult people. And this isn't just a feel-good platitude. It's a practical strategy that can transform your classroom environment and your own well-being. So let's break down some ways to think about these challenging interactions, whether it's with a student, a colleague, or even a parent. First of all, and this is crucial, every behavior is a form of communication. Think about it. Whether it's a cry for help, a statement of values, or simply a manifestation of a bad day, every single behavior from every human on this planet is communicating something. When a student is disruptive, when a colleague is snippy, they're actually telling you something about their inner state, their needs, or their perceptions. It is rarely about you personally. And on that note, here's a humbling thought. It could have been you. At some point in our lives, we've all been rude, right? Yet it doesn't define who we are. Hopefully, the person we were rude to felt the same way that we're trying to feel right now. Keeping this in mind can foster empathy when you're facing a difficult interaction. This leads to another vital point. Do not take it personally. even if someone makes it personal, their rudeness is almost always a reflection of their inner state, not a judgment of your worth. Let me repeat that. Another person's rudeness is almost always a reflection of their inner state, not a judgment of your worth. When you can detach emotionally, you gain clarity. Try to be objective. Analyze their behavior. What might be the root cause? Is it stress? Is it frustration? Misunderstanding? Most likely it's senseless. It wouldn't, whatever. But if there's a discernible reason, identifying it can help you strategize your response. Whatever you do, do not join the circus. Those are not your monkeys. Their crazy is not your crazy. You don't fight fire with fire, especially not in a classroom where you're trying to model appropriate behavior. Engaging in a power struggle or mirroring their rudeness only escalates the situation and rarely achieves anything positive. The louder they talk, the softer you talk. And don't be afraid to break the runaway train with a 3-second pause. It will be the longest silence of your life. I guarantee that. But just providing a pause makes everyone pause. Sometimes rudeness is an immediate reaction to frustration. You can consider offering immediate help. If there's something you can genuinely assist with right then and there, a simple question, clarifying an instruction, helping them find something, you'll often see immediate gratitude and a shift in their demeanor. For example, if the secretary sends a terse email reminding you to take attendance, they probably just got a similar reminder from higher up, right? If a colleague is short-tempered in the hallway, perhaps they just had a tech issue, or maybe they can't find a resource in the curriculum, and you can help them and turn their attitude around. Another powerful strategy is to use a selective response system. Respond to what's going well and ignore the bad behavior. Most people, 99.9% of them, know when they're being rude. By not giving negative behavior your attention, you're not fueling the fire. You're simply waiting for the moment they offer something positive or neutral, and then you zero in and engage with that. Rudeness can just be a habit for some people. It used to surprise me how often students with persistent attitudes had parents with similar dispositions. You'd think I'd learn, right? But recognizing it as a habit rather than a personal affront, to me, can help you manage your own reaction. When kids would be sent down to my office for disrespect or cussing or something like that, and I had to call the parents, it was often, more times than not, I would say, that the parents' behavior was exactly the same as what the student got in trouble for. The behavior was a family habit. If you don't get anything else out of this episode, remember this. Ultimately, you can't change people. Just like we can't fix our students and make them perfect, we can't single-handedly fix someone else's rudeness. But we can choose how we respond. And this brings me to an effective strategy. Fight rudeness with kindness. This is where your personal practice in resilience becomes absolutely 1,000% necessary. Your bucket has to be full of patience, empathy, and self-awareness in order to do this consistently. It's hard work, but it's incredibly rewarding. You can't be bulletproof if you haven't been taking care of your own armor and defense skills. So, I've already given you several pointers for the week. Here's one more, and it's called reframing. The next time a student or a colleague pushes your buttons, I want you to try reframing the situation. Look at it from their side. Consider why they might have chosen those words or exhibited that particular behavior. And it probably has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Now, this does not mean you excuse unacceptable behavior, but it does mean you approach it with a different mindset. Instead of reacting with anger, you can respond with a desire to understand. Lean into curiosity. And this way you can de-escalate or simply not let their negativity steal your peace. Consequences absolutely still need to be communicated and completed. Absolutely. But they can be delivered in a calm, no-nonsense, emotion-free way. Boundaries are boundaries, and communicating and defending them are vital. Your ability to remain tethered and whole, even in the face of rudeness, is not just a personal victory. It's a powerful model for your students and a testament to your professionalism. That's all, folks, for this week's Tethered and Whole. Thank you for joining me. Keep practicing that superpower, teachers. You are making a difference every single day. And we'll talk again next week.